My name is Brock Shannon. The final date of my experiment is May 10th, 2015. The title of my experiment is Water Testing Hydrophobia. The purpose of my experiment is to test if the particle size has a difference on a substance's ability to repel water. My hypothesis is that the finer the grain of the substance, the more effectively it will repel water. For the first step of my experiment, I will be using hermit crab sand and Scotchgard. And I will pour the hermit crab sand into a pan like this, and I will coat it in Scotchgard, like so. And I will do about 7 of these coatings just to make sure that the sand is coated properly, and in between these coatings I will shake up the pan after it dries. Now I am about to spray the normal sand that you would use in a sandbox or anything like that, and I believe that this is quartz based, so the grains are going to be a little bit thicker and larger than that of the hermit crab sand. So I'm just going to do the exact same as I did to the hermit crab sand and just spray it in coats and let it dry, and then I will sift it and repeat. Third step of my experiment, I'll be using pea gravel, and I will do the same as I did to the others. And I will mix this up when it dries and do several more coats. The active ingredient that will be doing the propelling of the water is perfluorobutane sulfonate. Now for the testing, I will use the jars to observe how the substance repels the water underneath the surface, and then I will use the plates to observe how it repels the water above the surface. First, I will test how the substances react on the surface. Okay. It seems to be sticking together pretty well on the surface and has made kind of like a blanket. I'm going to give it a quick little poke. Yep. The water goes down with it, and my finger is still not wet. I'm going to try and poke slowly though so the barrier does not break. Okay, now my finger's wet. So overall, the hermit crab sand is fairly effective. Now, I'm going to use my other hand because it's not wet. I'm going to test the regular sand. Having a similar effect. Okay, now for the poke test. Yep. Overall, oh, it broke. Overall, it's very similar to the hermit crab sand, but it appears to be a little less strong of a resistance on the surface. I don't know if that's due to error or if it's just because of the particle size. We'll have to find out in a second. Oh, that's my phone. Okay. Now for the rocks. Yeah. That's troublesome. So the surface test was more just for fun, because I like poking water without getting wet. So that's why the rocks do not work, because they sink a lot easier. Now for the jar tests. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm spilling a little bit. Let's put that up close. That's very cool. Okay, so the hermit crab sand has done a very good job of repelling the water, and it is sticking together, trying to avoid the water. Now for the regular sand. Try and get it up close here. Dang it, I'm spilling. Okay. Very similar effect. Okay. You can see that it is repelling the water, but it's not sticking together due to the particle size. In conclusion, from my evidence, particle size definitely appears to affect the water repellents. I don't have an in-between between the small particles like the sand and the hermit crab sand and the rocks, so that would be easier to test that. That would be my error in the experiment. But from the looks of it, particle size seems to have a large effect. The finer the grain, the easier it sticks together when it's repelling itself away from water, whereas the rocks do not stick together because the density is a lot bigger than that of the sand and the hermit crab sand.